Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today is our second episode of my new feature, which I'm calling Terrifying Tuesdays. I think that might be a little bit better of a title, in which I review some of the old horror movies that I inherited, for a lack of better word, from my father's collection. These are all, he had this huge collection of old, horror movies from 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, just some like sci-fi stuff in there too. But I decided, set Tuesdays aside for reviewing those, and then my regular Fridays for other movies, which I might include some of these in as well. But this week's movie is called Scream of Fear. It's 1961, and according to the box, it is unrated. But it may have been rated back then. I don't know. I was -8 at the time, so don't know anything about the rating system back then. Okay, this movie is about a young woman named Penny who, at the behest of what she thought was her estranged father, comes to France to see him. She hasn't seen him in 10 years due to her parents being divorced and her staying with her mother and going to Italy. So she hasn't seen her father in 10 years, and probably, she says she probably wouldn't recognize him if she saw him. And she's been in a wheelchair for 9 due to as we find out later, a horseback accident in which the horse could have landed on her. So she's going to see her father and her stepmother, which she has never met. And the movie starts with her arriving at the airport and getting picked up by her father's driver by the name of Bob. And she finds out that her father had been called away unexpectedly on business. So when she gets there to the house, it is just her stepmother and Bob. And you have some, a little bit of uncomfortable times of them, trying to get to know each other and, a little small talk and all that. So, yeah, so that's it. She's just going to visit her father's house and, wondering when her father is going to be back. And then we start having these little odd instances where, there's a guest house out back that's not being used anymore as a guest house. It's being used as storage. She sees a light on. She goes back to the house, goes back there, opens it up, sees her dead father sitting in a chair there, in a candle, screams, leaves, falls into the pool, and wakes up a little later to the mother, Bob, who had gotten her out of the pool, and the the father's doctor friend, a very young Christopher Lee. And of course they're saying, yeah, no, that wasn't him. He's off in wherever on business. He didn't see anything. We go out there, and he's not there. None of that stuff was there. So you're getting these little odd circumstances of her seeing stuff, and her beginning to did I see this stuff? Did I not? So she's either going insane or she's seeing stuff, and she's trying to work out if she has seen anything, or if she's going insane and she starts to work with Bob. I just like the name Bob, and it's a really good movie. I mean, it's you aren't sure. I mean, you see what she sees, obviously, because this movie is told from her perspective. And it is a Hammer film, I should say. It's, so it's, that actually does have, somewhat of a bearing on the movie, since it's a horror movie and it's, set in Europe. And I just think that it generally means it's a little bit superior to the kind of movies made back then. But it is, it's very well done. It's moody, well written, well acted. And the reactions of people and the situations kind of flow naturally. It's just like no one's making any jumps in logic to get to where the script needs them to be. It's, if that makes any sense. What you have is just a natural flow. And you also have, the people sort of are well written. You have the mother who, or stepmother, who's like, he's not here. You're seeing things. You have been mentally fragile as a child, from what I've been told. You have the doctor who's offering explanations. They sort of make sense, but you also get a kind of suspicious underlying motive of them, because you do see what she's seen, and of course, they, were never around to see this stuff, and so you're, wondering, do they actually believe this, or, is there something else going on? And then you have Bob, who originally starts out being skeptical. Not that he didn't believe her, but he was skeptical. And after seeing a couple of things, he starts to come around. So, I mean, it's a good progression. It's not, nothing's forced, nothing jumps, logic jumps or fallacies that, you're like, well, why did that happen? And it's really well done. And what I love is there is the ending. I did not see that coming. I thought I had it figured out. I didn't. And that really helped. I mean, not really helped, but it helped. I mean, it was a good movie to begin with. And, even with good movies, sometimes you think you know what the ending is. I'm not saying that you won't figure it out. I didn't. And I suspect a good amount of people won't, and that's, I'm not saying that people aren't smart enough to get it. I mean, it's just that well written of a movie, and maybe people will get it, and I'm just a little slow. Who knows? But I really recommend this movie. It was a very well done movie, and kind of creepy for its time. You know, it is one of the better ones that I've seen from this. On this collection so far. I haven't watched. I've watched a couple of them already, and seen stuff previously in other parts of the collection that he had given me. Father had given me earlier. Back, when he was still around. But I recommend this movie. It's a scream of fear. 1961. Get it. Watch it. You will, if you're a fan of horror movies, old horror movies. This is one of the better ones that I've seen. I'm going to give it a 4.75 out of 5 and say pick it up, watch it, you'll enjoy it. Especially seeing a young-ish Christopher Lee. This is 1961, so he had already fought in World War II and done some stuff for the British government afterwards. So he's not, he's not like a child or a teenager or something like that. He's not even in his early 20s. I'd say late 20s to early 30s, if anything. I don't know exactly. But I think it's one of his earlier movies. But check it out. Let me know in the comments below if you saw it and what you thought of it. If you saw it, like, subscribe, possibly share, and whatever else. Enjoy your horror movies.